few windows going here. And let me switch over to you so I can see you. Welcome, Victoria, Renee, I've already jumped in. Welcome, everybody. Looks like we're up on all platforms. And hello, welcome to InDesign Tuesday. My name is Terry White, Worldwide Design and Photography Evangelist for Adobe. It's my pleasure to be streaming to you live today. Hello, Robert from Texas, and everyone joining in on all the various platforms. So with that said, we're going to dive right in. We never punish the people that are on time, unless we're having technical difficulties, but everything seems to be running. And therefore, we're going to go ahead and get started with today's topic, which is creating indexes and cross-references in InDesign. Not the most exciting topic in the world, I'll admit, but it's a useful topic. It's one that people have asked for, actually, because I did a topic a couple weeks back on how to create a table of contents. So that was followed up by questions on, well, that's great, but can you show us how to use the index feature, which I don't think I've ever done a stream on. I don't know if I've even ever done a tutorial on it on my YouTube channel. So we're going to do it today. All right, so I'm going to switch over to my computer where I've got an InDesign document already open. It's actually a book by my very good friend, Victoria Pavlov, and she's in the audience watching. This is her latest book, Digital Painting in Adobe Photoshop, and of course it's an InDesign document. It's also available on Amazon, so you can go check it out. Go buy yourself a copy, and you get the hard printed copy or the digital version, the ebook version. But anyway, that's not why we're here. Why we're here is we're going to make an index. This particular book does not have a printed index. Of course, the digital version can be searched, but if we wanted people to be able to look up things in the index, you'd actually have to create it because that isn't created by default. So with that said, how does that work out? Or how does that work? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some panels open, and I've already saved a workspace for this. So let me go to my workspace. It's called indexing, and it brings up a couple panels we're going to need. We're going to need the index panel, and we're going to need the cross-references panel. I know what you're saying. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait, Terry, I don't have that workspace. How do I get those panels? Well, you go up to your window menu. You come down to Type and Tables, and that's where you will find both of them. You will find the cross-references panel, and you will find the index panel. You're going to need both of them to follow along. It doesn't help to bring up the paragraph panel while we're at it. So we may not use that one, but you're definitely going to need the index and cross-references. And actually, I don't mean the paragraph panel. What I really mean is the paragraph styles panel. There's a difference. So let's get that one over. Let's get that one over. That's what I want. So I want paragraph styles. We will use that. Cross-reference and index. Those are the three panels you're going to need open. All right, next up, what's an index? What's the difference? Well, if we scroll down, there is the beginnings of a table of contents. And the table of contents, of course, goes through each section of your book or of your publication, your newsletter, your magazine, your book, whatever it is, and lets people jump to a specific article. But if you wanted to create, and again, I did that tutorial a couple of weeks ago, so you can go back and look at it. But if you wanted to create an index, which is usually at the end of the publication, and it's based on words throughout the publication, throughout the book, that you want people to be able to go look up a particular word and go to that page where that word or that topic is being discussed. So it's not article-based because the word could be used in every article. So for example, if this is a book on digital painting and I wanted to do an index and I wanted to index the word brushes, well, brushes appears throughout the book. So that doesn't really have anything to do with any particular chapter, but it definitely has something to do with using brushes throughout the book. And if you want to look up all the instances for where she talks about brushes. So let's scroll down to the content. And this is the first chapter. Getting comfortable. This is the unedited version. I can see getting comfortable. Getting comfortable with your tools and workspaces. This is not the final version. Trust me, it didn't go to press that way. But anyway, if we wanted to index a particular word starting here, for example, the word tools. I see the word tools being used throughout this first chapter. then what we would need to do is select that word and create an index using the index panel, or index it, I should index entry. So there are two sections in the index panel. There is reference and topic. Now, what's the difference? Topic would be for people that are very organized. In other words, you want to create a list of topics for the kinds of things you want to put in your index, even though you may not have those particular instances. So in other words, I may create a new topic, and I may call that topic animals. Let me spell animals right. All right, animals. And under animals, maybe cats, dogs, and fish, okay? And so I'm adding that as a series of topics, let me say done. And even though I may not ever add any of those entries, I may not ever add any of those things. So that's what topics are, it's basically like a reference list, things that you may want to remember to index. And you can either create a topic list, import a topic list, or never create a topic list. It's optional. You don't have to create a topic list to do an index. You don't have to be that organized, in other words. So I'm going to undo it, get rid of that entry. Let's go over to reference, and let's deal with the entry that we want to deal with, which is tools. So in other words, I'm the kind of index person where I'm going through my publication, indexing words as I see them, or as I'm writing the book. Oh yeah, that'd be a good word to put in the index. So I would put it in right then and there. But again, if you're the organized person, create a topic list first, then go do your entries, and away you go. So I'm going to go ahead and just come down here and click Create New Index Entry. So when I do that, it brings up the same kind of box that we saw a second ago with topics. And it will keep the word that you just highlighted. And you even get an option to do subcategories. Remember, I did animals, cats, fish, so forth and so on. You can also do a sort by. Now, what's the sort by? If you don't put anything in sort by, it'll automatically just sort it under T for tools. But let's say it was some obscure word like frame tool. You know, people may not know what frame tool is, so you could say, well, frame tool is the main topic, but it's sorted under tools, because people will go look for tools. They may not look for frame tool. So that's what the sort by is. And then the type is really dealing with the page range. So in other words, let's say this is a whole chapter on tools. It's not, but let's say it is. And tools is talked about on pages 6, 7, 8, and 9. Well, if I say current page, then this reference will only be for that word on page 6. And if I add more, that word on page 8, that word on page 9. But if I say to the next style change, to the next use of a particular style, for the next number of paragraphs, so forth and so on, then I'm saying make the page range 6 through 20 or 6 through 9, how many ever pages that deal with that topic. But I usually do current page because I want you to go to that particular page to look for that particular word. Now, if I click add, that will only add this one entry. It'll only add the word tools for page 6. But if I say add all, that means it'll do me a favor. It'll go through the rest of my publication and say, I found tools on page 20, I found tools on page 25, I found tools on page 50, I found tools on page 100. It'll go find tools everywhere it is and put it in for me. So I love that. I love it. Unless there's one specific instance that I care about, I'd want it for all of it. So everywhere I've used the word tools, or everywhere she used the word tools, go put it in the index for me. And then you can just keep going. I'm going to say done, but you can see it started to create the index. It's got all the letters of the alphabet in there, and there's something under T. If I go under T, if I go under tools, all the pages that the word tools exist on page 6 twice, page 8 once, page 14, and page 142. I didn't know that. It just went and found them for me. So that's the way an index works. So for example, if we do the same thing for toolbar and we click new index entry, find toolbar everywhere it exists, just do it. And then when I click out of that, there's toolbar, and toolbar exists on a bunch of pages because she talks about the toolbar quite a bit. So that's kind of how your index works. Let's go find a word that doesn't start with the word T. Let's go find the word customize, for example. And let's go ahead and put the word customize in, add all, done. So you can see it goes pretty quick. And now if I scroll up, there will be something under the letter C, customize, all the pages that customize exist on. So you would just rinse and repeat. Go through your entire document and find all the instances of the particular words you want in the index. So let me do this one. Let me do mixer brush, because that's one that she talks about quite a bit. I'm going to do mixer brush, but I'm going to sort that by the word brush. Now what that means is it won't be under M. It'll be under B for brushes. So I'm going to say add all the mixer brush instances in, sort them under B, or you can do, maybe this page under B and then the other pages under M. You can mix and match, and so that way people will find it no matter where it is. Let me find, and by the way, you can also use InDesign's search. So let me use InDesign, search for the word brushes. There's brushes right there. And I want to also put that in as well. So let's go ahead and put the word brushes in. So that will be under B, add all, done. And if we go under B now, we have mixer brush and brushes because it's dealing with brushes in general. And since you put in the whole word brush or brushes, that means it will be sorted. If there are other words that have the letter or start with B, they'll be sorted under brushes themselves. All right, let's do a couple more and then we'll talk about cross-references. And there are two types of cross-references. So let's talk about painting. Let's go ahead and add that one in. Add all, done. And let's add a few more. Let's talk about organization. And again, we'll put that under brushes as well because she's talking about brush organization. Add all, done. And we'll just keep going and add a few more here. Let's see, what else can I find here? This is an example file, so we want to be able to quickly have people get to that example. It's called a forest brush, or forest painting, I should say. And let's add all of those in, done. And let's see if there's any more. Let's do one more, and then we'll talk about cross-references. All right, let's talk about, of course, let's put the word Photoshop in there. All the places where she talks about Photoshop. There'll probably be a ton of those. All right, done. Okay, so you would just keep going through your whole publication and doing that for index entries. Now let's talk about cross-references, since the process I just talked about, you just keep doing it. Cross-references, there are two kinds. There's a cross-reference in the publication itself, like you're reading the book and it says, see also whatever. That's a regular cross-reference. And then there are cross-references for the index itself. Like you're in the index and it says oil painting, see paint, or see painting. So there are two types of cross-references and you do them two different ways. So for the regular cross-references that people will read while they're reading the book, they're actually in the book itself, that's what you do on the cross-reference panel. For the cross-references that are in the index, that's what you do from the index panel. So actually, before we jump to cross-references, let's go ahead and create the index. Because even though we added these entries, you're probably saying, well, where is the actual index once you're done adding all the entries? So I'm going to jump over to page 180, which is a blank page. On 180, it's actually at the end of the book. In the book just has a bunch of blank pages because, again, this is the unedited version. But on page 180, this is where I want the index to actually appear. So when I'm done, or even if you're not done, you can create the index at any time. And if you forgot some entries or need to go modify some entries, you can go back and work on them and then just update the index. All right, so this button right here, create or generate index, will generate it. You can also do it from the flyout menu. There's also a generate index entry or menu option from the index menu. So doesn't matter where you do it, it'll bring up this dialog box. Now, this dialog box is very similar to the table of contents dialog box, just not as many options. So what do you want to call the index? Index. What style do you want to style the actual word index? Index title. And then there are more options. And the reason that more options is hidden because most people won't ever use them. Then there's all of this. This is how you would pretty much style. If you really cared about the way the index looked, you want the index in a certain font. You want certain things italicized. You want the page number to look a certain way. You want all of those things. This is where you go and put in all the style sheets for all of those different things that you want. You can even have a style for each level. Remember, animals, cats, dogs, fish. You can have a style, maybe each one gets a little smaller, so you can have style sheets for that. You can have a style sheet for the section or heading, the page number, the cross references. All of these can be styled differently. That's why they're all under more options, because again, for that level of, I want my index to be pretty, that's where that is. All right, so I'm going to click OK. We're not going to get into all the styles. We're just going to go ahead and place the index. And there it is. There's the index it made for us. And again, it found all of those instances of all of those words. And I built a very simple index because I only, index maybe 10 words, if that many. And it found them all, and it put everything where it was supposed to. So it put mixer brush under the B's, it put organization under the B's for brushes, it put brushes under the brushes, C for customization, and so forth and so on. So it did everything it was supposed to do, and the index is there. And if I go back and, let's say I go back and index another word, let's index sliders, for example, and I index that word, and I say add all, and done, and I come down and I say, well, wait, there's no S, there's no sliders, because I haven't updated the index. So if I say generate index again, and just click OK, it'll update your existing index because you've already generated it. So now sliders is on page 171, 172. And by the way, let's say you forgot a page, you forgot a chapter, you want to delete a page, you want to go and mess with the page order. If you change any of the pages so that these numbers would be wrong, when you're done doing all your changing, just come back and generate the index again. And it'll update all the page numbers for wherever those words exist. So if you went through and edited and you deleted some of those words or you moved them to different pages, doesn't matter. Regenerate the index and it will update all the page numbers for all the words wherever they exist. All right, so that's indexing. Let's jump over to cross-referencing. So for cross-referencing, I'm going to go to page, I want to go to page 24. I have an example set up. So let's jump over to page 24. All right, on page 24, I think this is the one I want. Yeah, this is the page that talks about capture. All right. You notice that she's starting to talk about capture CC here. And then on page 58, hang on, let's jump down real quick. Oh, yep, page 58. Here, let's just go to page 58 to be faster. 58. There's the use capture, there's the use Adobe Capture CC to capture colors. And then on page 33, that's what I was looking for. Page 33, there's the welcome to Adobe Capture. So, and actually that should be Capture CC. Okay, so let's go back to page 24, because that's where I want to create the first cross-reference. So 24, what I want to do here is I want to put the words in after Photoshop CC and Adobe Capture CC. Also see welcome to Capture CC on page 33. That's where it is. I don't want to have to type that, because if I type also see welcome to Adobe Capture CC page 33, that's great as long as it doesn't move. If I add a page, delete a page, move that paragraph around, then that's where manual cross-references break, because you type them in, and if you don't remember to go update them, you're hosed. All right, so what I want to do is I want to create a new cross-reference using the cross-reference panel. So the cross-reference panel, similar to the index panel, you create a new cross-reference entry, and it's going to bring up a big scary dialog box like that. This one, an InDesign team, if you're watching this video ever, this is probably one of the most intimidating things in InDesign, and I wish we could simplify it. It's easy once you know how it works, But if you don't know how this works, you're going to be like, I don't know what to do here. What you're looking for, and this is, let me cancel this for a second. Let's go to that entry that I want to reference to. Let's go to 33. It's right here. Notice that Welcome to Adobe Capture CC is in a paragraph style called subhead. I only use that paragraph style for potential cross-references. So you can even call it cross-reference. You can call it that style, whatever you want. How does that help me? Let's go back to, what is it, 24? Let's go back to 24, and I'll show you how it helps. Also see, space, cross-reference, subhead. Oh, there it is. Welcome to Capture CC. So you're basically, in order to use this version of cross-references, your cross-references have to use a style sheet. And use any style sheet you want. They can use the same style sheet as other style sheets, but it has to use a style sheet so that you can find it in this dialog box. This will list all of the paragraphs that use that style sheet. So that's why it's easier if you just set up one for your cross-references. You can use the same ones, but it just will mean you have to do more searching. All right, so there it is. Subhead, find all the ones that use subhead. Welcome to Adobe Capture CC, uses subhead. And now if I just click OK, it puts in all that text for me. Also see, space, welcome to Adobe Capture CC on page 33. It put that in for me. I don't have to do anything else. If that moves to page 34, this will update. It will always keep a link to where that cross-reference is. So if I want to cross-reference it somewhere else, like on page 58. On 58, she talks about using Adobe Capture CC or using Adobe Capture CC to do colors. And if I wanted to put in another cross-reference there, also see, space, add another cross-reference. It could be the same one. Welcome to Adobe Capture CC. There it is. So that will reference people to, if they got this far or jumped to this part in the book and they want to learn more about Capture CC, they go back to page 33 and read about it, or whatever page that ends up on. So cross-references are pretty easy to do. You just got to remember to style them first, and then you'll have the ability to use the cross-reference feature. And as you can see, it's keeping track of the pages for me. So there's one on page 24, there's one on page 28 that references this cross-reference. They're green, which means they're still good. I didn't delete something by accident, and it still works. Now this one, use Adobe Capture CC to capture colors. Let's say I go back to page 24, and I want to say, and, space, I want to put a cross-reference in for the subhead style that says use Adobe Capture CC to capture colors. Click OK, and it will put all that text in for me. Use Adobe Capture CC to capture colors on page 58. It knows what page it's on. So that way I put two cross-references in the same paragraph to two different sections of the book that talk about Capture CC, or which is what we're talking about in this section of the book. So cross-references that are for people to read and navigate through, those are the cross-references you do in the cross-reference panel. Now, what's a cross-reference for the index? And then we'll wrap up. All right, if we go back to the index, which is on page 180, all the way at the end of the book, the unedited version of the book. If we go back down here, and once your index has been generated, let's see, I had one I was going to use. I was going to use oil paint on page, oil paint is on page 174. So let's go back up to 174. And on page 174, there's oil paint. And so what I want to do here is I want to go ahead and put that entry in the index. Yep, I'm going to put that entry in. And I want to go ahead and add it all. So now it's in there as an entry. And if I go update the table of contents, the index, it will update for me. And it'll put the word oil paint in. So oil paint's there under O now. But now I want to also put a For people that get to oil paint in the index, I want them to also see painting because painting is all related. So if I go to the index now and I go to where oil paint is and I select it, I should be able to do a cross-reference. I don't want to do it that way though. Can I do it this way? Nope, I don't want to do it that way. Okay, we'll do it this way. All right, let's go ahead and put our cursor there. I want to do... Okay, so there's a custom cross-references. There's also the see alsos. That's all under here. So I want to do a see also. And I want to, for oil paint, I want to reference painting. So I'm just going to drag painting up to the reference box. So put your cursor in your index or wherever you want it to be. Actually, you don't even have to do it in the index. It'll do it. It'll fix it for you. You can do this anywhere. But anywhere, create a new reference, put the main topic in that you want to cross-reference to, choose what type you want. So I'm going to say see also. Then go in the index and find the entry that you want to cross-reference to and then add it. You don't have to be in the index. You don't have to physically put your cursor there. You can do this at any point. So once I add that in and I say done and I update the index, see also painting does it for me. So that's a cross-reference for the index. There's also a cross-reference for the document, and index entries are index entries. Create as many as you want. All right. And your index can be, you can have hundreds or thousands of words in the index. You can have dozens of words in the index. You can have just the important words in the index. You can have only the orange words in the index. You can have any words you want in the index. It's your index. Just like the book was your book. You put in whatever topics you wanted, use whatever writing style, whatever words you wanted. The index is totally customizable. There is no right or wrong way to do it. It will do what you ask it to do. And again, if you want to just keep updating, you can keep adding words and always come back and generate a new or updated version, and it will incorporate that in your index. If any pages move around, paragraphs get shifted around, paragraphs get deleted, words get deleted, cross-references get moved, everything will update if you update the index. And of course, the cross-references will stay updated because they're linked automatically. So that is how to create an index and how to create both kinds of cross-references in InDesign. All right, let's see. I see a couple questions there. Let me see what Tom's asking here. Thomas, I haven't used FrameMaker probably in 20 years, so I'm going to say yes, InDesign would be suitable. I can't think of anything that FrameMaker could do index-wise that InDesign can't today. All right, Enar is here all the way. You finally made one of these live. He's here all the way from Iceland. Anybody have a list of words I want to have indexed? I don't have any. And hello, Rose from New Zealand. Welcome. All right, I'm not seeing any more questions, just seeing lots of shout outs. So welcome everyone. Is there a way to auto-generate the index? Well, again, luxury card store, auto-generated, how would it know? How would it know what words you wanted indexed and which ones you didn't? So indexing has always been a manual thing because there's no way for the computer to know what's important to you and what's not. So you can do the entries as you go along. You can do them after the fact. It's probably, if you're writing the book or laying the book out or typing the words, it's probably easier to go ahead and do them as you work because you're going to see something that's thought-provoking you as the author, and you would know right then and there, hey, I want that in index, boom, create a quick index entry and keep going. Or you finish the book's been edited, and you go back through it and you pick out the important topics and index it. Unfortunately, as much as I love AI and automated things, I just don't know how an automated index would work. How would it know what I thought was important and what I thought wasn't important? So I don't know of any automated way to do that. All right, so with that said, we are done. So cheers, everybody. I want to thank you for watching. Tomorrow and Thursday, I will be on the Creative Cloud Design channel tomorrow and the Students channel on Thursday. You can always see what I'm streaming about and what times and what channels on Mondays at terrywhite.com. So if you want to see what I'm doing tomorrow and the next day, head over to terrywhite.com, look at my blog post for this week. It'll show you what I'm streaming about. It also lets you watch the replays for the ones you missed. And it's just one quick stop to know what I'm streaming about for the whole week. So with that said, cheers everybody. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye.